Okay, we're gonna learn how to make a tail wag in VRChat. So, I have my fully rigged VRChat ready Momoji model here. She works great. She's got some dynamic bones. And what you can do is you can make this tail wag, and better yet, it stacks with dynamic bones, so it'll both wag and be affected by movement. So, to start with, you do not want to do any of this, what we're about to do, on your main model. It'll break it. What you need to do is make a puppet that we can work with for making animations. To do that, just right-click your model, duplicate. Make sure you duplicate the object itself of the model, not the armature, just the mesh. I'll drag this out even though it'll snap back in a second. Now, once you've got your puppet, you're going to name it. So I'll say it tutorial anim, enter. Okay. Now go into the animation window down here. If you don't see it, you need to go into window, animation, or press Control 6. And it should open this menu up. Once you're here, create. We'll call this tail wag tutorial because I've already made a tail wag for my original model. Now Momoji snap back, pull your puppet out again. And now what you're going to do is add property. Go into here. Now you're going to find your tail root bone. In my case, it's under armature, hips, butt, tail, 0. It could be anywhere on your model, you'll see, but it should harbor all the tail children bones, which mine does. So you're going to open up your butt tails transform options and hit the little plus button next to rotation. If you don't see this plus, your window is probably too far off to the left. You'll just need to drag it over so you can see it. So click the button, rotation. Okay, we're about to break our model, which is why we made a puppet in the first place. So click this gray bar above this set of keyframes all the way on the right at 1 minute in and hit delete. Okay, that's not 1 minute by the way, that's a second. So you'll see that our model just broke, which is fine because this is a puppet. We're not uploading this. If you were trying to upload this, there'd be a problem. So don't do, again, I restate, do not do this on your original model. This is the same as making animation overrides. Okay, so let's make this tail wag. So you'll see if I drag this Y position around. Oh, that's not cooperating. Let's click here. Drag this Y position. There we go. Sometimes it doesn't like cooperating. You just kind of gotta click and deselect and specifically click it. There we go. Okay. So now you can see I can pull it around a bit. But it is a bit of a high tail. Let's say we want it to be a bit lower. That's fine. You can do that on the model. This was at 90. So let's just pull the Z-axis down a bit. Right, it's down to here. Okay. So that's at 100. So I'll say that exactly because I like perfect numbers. Now, for the first frame, let's say we want our tail to be on its left motion. That'll make things a bit easier because if you have it in the middle, you have to make an extra keyframe or two to make it loop properly. So to start with, let's drag our tail to -70. That's nice. So we'll get it over here, and now we have a new keyframe at -70. We'll make a new keyframe at, say, 25 milliseconds. So you can just double-click in the gray box here. It'll make a new set of keyframes. Drag your timeline over to here, deselect, and set the Y position to something like 110. Now 110 it's not really perfect because it's in each direction they're both exactly 20 degrees off. If you don't like it being that perfect and you want to make it a bit more natural, you can do a little bit higher of a wag on the right. So let's set it to 115. So you'll see going back and forth, we have a very, very basic tail wag. Excuse me, I have a cold. So you'll notice that this tail wag loops awfully. We'll fix that. So you're going to copy your very first frame, your first set of frames. So click the keyframe, Control C, and let's set it at 50 seconds. Take us over to 50. Oops. And Control V, copy. There you go. we have a looping, wagging tail. Now this isn't perfect. If you want, you can screw around with this as much as you like. You can drag it if you want it to be faster on like the inbound than the outbound, so you'll see it snaps back a lot faster. It doesn't look natural, but you gotta screw around with it. Find something you like. I'm just gonna set it to a very robotic kind of... Actually, let's screw it up a little bit. There we go. It's a little offset. And let's say instead of just being perfectly horizontal, we want a little bit of Z movement in there too. So I can go to my middle keyframe here, and we'll set the Z axis. Oh, I think it's at default 100 actually. So click here and set this to 100. Oh no, that's what it is already. So let's set it to 92. Alright. So now you'll notice that the tail kind of goes up. So when we play it, it's not just perfectly horizontal, it has a bit of upwards movement, which is a bit more natural. So, we have our animation. If you look into project, you'll see the animation we just made, in my case, tail wag tutorial. Now there's a couple things you can do here. If you want to make your tail wag on, say, a hand gesture, like you would for a lot of animation overrides that make weapons appear or items in your hands and stuff like that, you can just straight up drag this tail wag tutorial into your custom override. So if I wanted my tail wag to whenever when I made the rock and roll emote, I could just drag it here, and then drag custom overrides into my model. Oh, that's the anim, I don't want that. I could just drag it into here and I'd be done. Whenever I made the rock and roll emote, my tail would wag. But I just want it to wag all the time. You can, like, if you were blinking or something. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click my animation. In the very top right, beside the slot, go into the drop down and hit debug, and set it to legacy. Head back into normal, and there'll be a new option, wrap mode. Set that to loop. Once we've got that done, we go into our model. Make sure you're not going into your anim, the puppet we made. We want to go into the model itself. Because you'll notice that if I play this now, neither of them are doing anything. So, now what we do, we go into our main model and add a new animator, or animation, not animator, animation. Add one of those. And drag your animation into the animation slot. Congratulations. Your tail now wags. Isn't that great? Now I have a dynamic bone applied to this tail, so when I lift or drop my model, you'll see it'll even bounce. Left and right. Works well. So, congratulations. You can just upload this straight into VRChat and your tail should be wagging. Enjoy your head pats. Hope you like the tutorial.